Hello, welcome to the show. I am your host, Paul Britton. This is Real to Real Talk. We're going to be doing movie reviews. Two movies released in theaters this weekend that I went and saw. More than two came out, but I only went and saw two of them. And then there was one streamer that I caught. So let's just go ahead and get rolling. First movie I saw in theaters was The Roses. And this movie, starring Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman, in sort of a brand new retelling of the famous book, which had a mid 90s adaptation, The War of the Roses. Uh, it is brought to us by Jay Roach, and he is the guy who made Austin Powers, the original. Actually, he's directed all three Austin Powers movies. And you make Austin Powers movies, especially the original Austin Powers movie, you have leeway from me. Like I'm gonna give you a chance. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say you know what you're doing in directing a comedy. Let's see what you can do. More recently, he directed Trumbo, which is not a comedy, and he directed Bombshell, which was the sort of like the Fox News docudrama, and both of them were okay, perfectly fine. This is a return to comedy for him, though. This is. I'll be honest, I haven't seen War of the Roses since it came out in theaters. That movie might have come out in 88 or 89. That's how long ago that movie came out. And I have definitely not seen it, since shortly after it came out on cable, I would say. The trailers for this one got me interested. I not necessarily because I thought the trailers looked great. They looked okay, whatever. But because Olivia Colman and Benedict Cumberbatch, and I love those two. I mean, Olivia Colman is just amazing in everything. And then Benedict Cumberbatch, look, he was Sherlock Holmes, and he was an amazing Sherlock Holmes. And much like if you do a great job with Austin Powers, I'm going to give you a little leeway. You do a great job as Sherlock Holmes, I'm going to also give you a lot of leeway. And that's where we are with Benedict Cumberbatch. I know some people are like annoyed by him. I don't know why. That's okay. I'm not. So that's where I'm coming into this movie. I'm coming in interested, love the actors. The director, I'm willing to be like, okay, sure, let's see what you can do, because you gave me Austin Powers. And this movie is dark. I mean, this movie is so dark. This is just a like the very definition of a dark comedy. And it's interesting because you're kind of introduced at the very start of the movie to things are shit. Let's go back in time and see what happened. And that initial introduction is very brief, very short. And then Act 1 is pre things starting to go downhill. Okay. Act 1 is we're building a family. We're building a family. We move to America. We move to America. We build a family. He's a well-known, famous, successful architect. She is a great cook that just basically cooks for her family. He buys her a restaurant that she only opens 3 days a week and nobody goes to. And then the end of Act 1 is a major storm causes a drastic shift in both of their lives. He gets canned because of architectural negligence, we'll call it, and her restaurant blows up because the storm strands a whole bunch of people and forces people to actually just go to her restaurant because there's nowhere else to go. And their lives are moving along straight, and then they just go in completely opposite directions. And it caught the the switching of roles causes the slow downfall of their relationship, because up until that point they seem really happy, like genuinely. It's like there's genuine love there, there's genuine humor and appreciation for each other. And then the resentment grows, and then it becomes toxic and horrible. And the slow burn to hell is the whole second act. And the whole time I'm just thinking, God, I like that first act. I like the way they were in the first act, and I hope they can get back to that. Like I know that the premise of the movie is that they're toxic and they're terrible for each other, to each other, everything about each other. And to the point where, like, by the third act, the kids are like, yeah, you guys need to not be together anymore. And it's just, it's sad, man. I love love, and it's sad. And I just don't know that I have the stomach for it. And then the whole third act is just the end. And it's toxic times a million. And all the while, there are funny things going on, and I'll acknowledge that. Kate McKinnon's popping in to do Kate McKinnon things, and God bless her. I'll love Kate McKinnon in anything. And Andy Samberg also pops in and does Andy Samberg things, and he's super funny too. And Janney, Allison Janney, I think, it pops in as Olivia Colman's lawyer, and is just fantastic, because of course she is. And it's just all the while during the third act, I'm like, I just want the first act back. And it's, it's funny. It's just really dark. And then but the ending is so satisfying. And so, so what do you do? Like, where do I go with this? Like, first of all, if you have no problem watching people's relationships just spiral, out of control into hell, you will have no problem with this movie. Like this could potentially be a 4-star movie for you. It's so toxic, though. It just really is a toxic, dark movie. If, however, you kind of, like me, have a hard time with that and would much rather, happy things, or like don't mind dark comedy, but maybe have limits, your ceiling might be much lower than what mine was. I don't know. So here at Real to Real Talk, we do tacos instead of stars. If we feel like something deserves a little extra, instead of doing like a half a star or a half a taco, we'll add guac. Why? Because nobody eats to have a fucking taco. And so for the rose, I'm giving it 3 tacos, just because I really did laugh. Now normally 3 tacos means I would absolutely, without hesitation, sit down and watch this movie again. Whereas 2 tacos plus guac means I liked it. I didn't have a problem with it, but I don't ever want to see it again. I actually would happily sit down and see this movie again, just because it's like I'm ready for the toxicity. And, so I think I would be able to get through it a little better. The next movie we're doing, speaking of toxic, Caught Stealing, from Darren Aronofsky. Now, you might be thinking, oh, Darren Aronofsky, that means that this is super depressing and oh my goodness, so how many people die from drug overdoses? And because Darren Aronofsky obviously is famous for making Requiem of a Dream, which is like one of the most difficult movies I've ever sat through all the way through in my entire life. Director of The Wrestler, director of director of Black Swan. Just some of the bleakest, darkest movies that have ever come out. But he also directed Pi. That was his first movie. I freaking love Pi. So I'm on board with Darren Aronofsky. And you know, and so like caught stealing, like the way this movie was being, you know, presented, set up was, hey, it's a heist-ish movie. I fucking love heist movies, you know, and it had Austin Butler and Zoe Kravitz as the two leads. I fucking loved Zoe Kravitz and Austin Butler, and Regina King pops in in a side role, as well as Vincent D'Onofrio pops in as a Hasidic Jew, along with everybody's other favorite person, Liev Schreiber, as two Hasidic Jew gangsters. Yeah, let's do that. That sounds good. Matt Smith plays sort of like a punk rock British guy. Yeah, let's do that. And this movie presents itself as almost like Darren Aronofsky just puts away the morbidity and decides to have a little fun. And I would say that is like 50% right, maybe 30% right, maybe 60% right. It's not all the way right. This movie has a lot of morbidity to it. And like, especially for what it is, like, it feels like a super lighthearted crime mistaken identity romp, you know, mistaken identity sort of thing, like Lucky Number 11. If you've ever seen that, you know, that type of, there's quite a bit of Lucky Number 11 feeling to it. You know, just especially, you know, mistaken identity, multiple you know, crime syndicates or crime families or whatever, you know, dragging this one person who really isn't involved into the middle of their bullshit. And Zoe Kravitz playing the Lucy Liu character. And I love those kind of movies. I really do. And you know, and Aronofsky's such a good director. He really knows what he's doing. It's just that for whatever reason, he just feels like we're not gonna just have fun here. We're gonna, everybody needs to have a little bit of not fun. And it's not enough that the not fun is our protagonist Austin Butler getting the shit kicked out of him multiple times and finding himself in situations that seem almost impossible and stupid. It's that's not enough. What has to, there has to be something more happening that is also similarly to depressing. And also there is animal in distress, there's pet in distress, there's a cat in distress throughout this movie, which is it turns out okay. Like, thank God, because if he had fucking killed the cat, forget it. Forget it. I would not have been okay. Like, I would have just been like, look, this movie sucks. It's 1 star or 1 taco. But like, the crime caper is just well thought out, simple. It works, and it very much, this very much is, you know, God bless it, it's a movie that is about a thing, and it's just about the thing, and it doesn't, you know, that's another thing with Aronofsky. He usually has so many characters that have their own thing going on, that can you know, have multiple things going on at the same time, that that there is no juggling like that. It's just, you know, we're gonna plow through this the mistaken identity crime caper. And it's the fun parts are super fun, and it's funny. And I mean, look, it's Austin Butler and Zoe Kravitz. I don't know what to tell you. If you've seen any of the trailers and you were like, oh, that seems interesting to me, go see it, man. Because that's where I was, and I bought in. Like, you just, ultimately with these movies, you just have to buy in. You just have to enjoy the characters, buy in, and understand that Aronofsky is going to do 1 or 2 things that are just going to be like, that really didn't have to turn that way. Like, we could have just kept going with where the path that we were on, but he's going to go ahead and just, you know, throw a monkey wrench into the thing just to make sure that it hits you in the face. So monkey wrenches aside, I give Caught Stealing 3 tacos plus the guacamole. I probably you could make an argument for Four Tacos on this one. I just ultimately kind of feel like it's really an amazing three taco movie, and we're gonna add the guac because of that, rather than a four taco movie that needs something knocked down. And that's where I land, and for me, that's where it is. So that's where we landed. And the last movie I'm doing is the Thursday Murder Club on Netflix, starring Ben Kingsley. Um, I mean, Helen Mirren. I don't look. I'll honestly, I could just say Helen Mirren, and everybody should be like, "Oh, well, I'll watch it." But anyway, it's Ben Kingsley, Helen Mirren, and Pierce Brosnan, and a fourth person, because the club has four members. One member is the new member. The new member is the person whose name I am forgetting. Celia Imrie. She's fantastic. Like, she's the one that you probably like, oh, I may have seen her in something. Like, I went and looked at her filmography, like, okay, I think I've seen that movie, but I don't remember it all. But I mean, obviously I know Ben Kingsley, Pierce Brosnan, and Helen Mirren, and she just absolutely steps in and walks with them and talks with them and is in every scene with them, and it totally works. Like the movie takes place in we'll call it an upscale, a fancy retirement home. It's a former castle that has been refitted to be a retirement home, and there are three residents there who have formed a club that tries to solve cold cases, because one of their former members, who is now in the hospice wing, was a police detective in her prior life, and had these cold cases that were driving her crazy because they never solved. So they had this group that tried to solve the cold cases. And I mean, it's like, I don't know what I guess we could say it's like Glass Onion for for the Matlock crowd, or like literally, I watched it with my spouse Jen, and they're like, I feel like I'm watching like Matlock or Murder She Wrote, but in a good way. And it's like, absolutely, like that's what this is. I mean, it's literally, these people have a club that tries to solve cold cases, but then it turns out they find themselves in a real murder case, like a real active murder case, and so that now they have to solve that one too. And it's just fun. It 100% is what it is, and it's fun for it, and it does a great job. And again, it's three tacos plus guac. It's on Netflix. It's not going to cost you anything to watch it. It's happy, fun, worth 100% worth the time. The acting is, as you would imagine, impeccable. The extra characters that they bring in, all of the actors understand what's going on and play their parts to a T. And it's I mean, it's exactly what it should be, and commendable for it. So yeah, that's where we are. All right, that's all I got for you this week. We'll be back next week. Conjuring has a new movie coming out, so I'll be doing that. Plus Spike Lee's newest Highest to Lowest. So be sure to swing by and check that out. Once again, this is Real Talk. I'm your host, Paul Britton. Go out and go see some movies, and I'll see you next week.